Hi, welcome to XPPen 6 Weeks Animator Incubation. In this lesson, I will talk about timing. To understand timing, we need to understand two simple concepts: animation speed, measured in frame rate, and speed of action, measured in drawings per action. A lot of people confuse this, so after this lesson, it will be super clear for you and it will help you improve your animations a lot. Animation speed is the frame rate, and that is measured in frames per second. The more frames per second you have, the clearer the action is. The less frames per second, the choppier it looks. Here's a character walking at 8 frames per second. Here's the same exact character walking at 12 frames per second. It's the same timing, but the frame rate is different. Here's that same character walking at 24 frames per second. And here's the character walking at 30 frames per second. You can see for yourself. They are all walking at the exact same speed. But the one at 8 frames looks very choppy, not very clear. And the one at 30 frames per second looks very crystal clear. We can clearly see every movement in detail. The ones that are used the most in anime are 12 frames per second, and that's for traditional animation. And 30 frames per second, because it's a lot of drawings, those are used more in modern keyframe animation. Like in our case, in Cartoon Animator, we use 30 frames per second. Now, why am I explaining this to you? Well, because the speed of the animation, that is the frame rate, has nothing to do with the speed of the action of your character. As you can see, the animation at 30 frames per second is very fast. It's showing 30 frames every second, but the action is done at the very same speed. Now, let's talk about the speed of action. The speed of action is different than the frame rate, the speed of animation. The speed of animation is very easy to understand. The higher the number, the faster it gets. Just like the speed of your car, the higher the miles per hour you run at, the faster you go. That's speed of animation. For speed of action, how fast the character moves, that's a whole other story. The more drawings you have, the slower the movement. Let's go back to this box. In Cartoon Animator, the frame rate is 30 frames per second. Okay, look at what happens when we use more drawings, more frames, okay? In here now, we have 50 drawings for this movement. In Cartoon Animator, it's 50 frames. Let's play it. And as you can see, we get a slow action. There are so many frames in this action. In short, more frames, slower action. What if we use less frames? Well, now the movement is very fast. You see? Why? Because we are only using 10 drawings. So less drawings is faster action, and more drawings is slower action. Okay, yes, easy to understand. But how can this help you create amazing animations? Well, we will talk about this in the next lesson. See you there.